Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Rumapal, welcoming all to Chaitanya Studio of Dr. Baba Saheb Ambedkar Open University Ahmedabad. We are dealing with lecture series of postgraduate diploma in human resource. Students, you must be familiar in this subject. We have 4 blocks. In that 4 blocks, we have different kind of units. Today, we will focus on block 1, which is strategic management and planning. And in that block 1, we will focus on unit 1, that is all about planning management and strategic management. So in our last lecture, we have come across what is human resource management. We have also come to know the human resource management definitions, the features, the importance, the benefits, the pros and cons of human resource management. We have also come across human resource planning, and even we have learned what is human resource development. Today we will learn strategic management. So students, start with this learning objective. Right. After learning this unit, you will be able to understand the levels of strategic planning, the dimensions of strategic decisions, the difference between strategies and tactics, the current trends in business policy. So, planning has always been a part and parcel of the business activity, as there was a common objective of attaining profit. So the larger the profit, bigger and complex was the task of planning, as it posed new challenges. So there felt the necessity of addressing these issues strategically by giving it status of war of existence among the staff competitors and widening the market demands. So nowadays, it tries to chalk out its unique strategy or game plan based on its own internal strength and weaknesses in terms of which products or services to pursue, which investments to make, which human resource policy to implement, and which organizational structure to adopt. Right. So the whole exercise is meant to find out how to effectively compete against whom, when, and where, and for what, so that the firm can generate successful performance over an extended period of time. The essence of strategy lies in striking a harmonious balance between a firm's distinctive skills and capabilities and the external environment in which it operates. When the firm is able to perform activities more effectively than its rivals, it stays ahead in the race and emerges as a leader. So strategic planning and strategic management enables a firm to formulate such implement winning game plans over a period of time. So strategic planning can be defined as management task which is concerned with the growth and the long-term prospects of business. So strategic, so when it comes to strategic planning, so strategic planning actually is necessary for planning arises this because of the fact that business organizations have to operate, survive, and progress in a highly dynamic environment where change is the rule, not the exception. So the change may be sudden and extensive, or it may be slow, almost unpredictable. So here we can see the change drivers. So the general shape of things to come, it's like, how this change drivers come, how this change has came. So that we need to know. So Alvin and John Nesbitt and other researchers, they have identified 100 different trends that are reshaping the global economy and summarize them down to 9 change drivers. So now we need to the 9 change drivers. So the 9 change drivers start from a maturing population, then a society as a diverse mosaic, then the third one, that is shifting societal roles, then an information based economy, then the fourth one, that is communications, then globalization followed by emphasis on quality of life, then a restructured economy, then a redefinition of home and family, then the last one it comes, that is renewed social activism. Now we need to know more about all the steps, more about all the points. So let's start with maturing this population. So this, the first one, a maturing population. When it comes to a maturing, it means, something, it's not start, it has started somewhere, right? So there will be a greater emphasis on sophistication, realism, and responsibility in the days ahead. Now the next one, that is society as a diverse mosaic. So the racial, ethnic diversity will increase, a multinational and multilingual workforce will emerge. So products and services will be customized to suit individual tastes. Women will enjoy a greater share of executive positions. Now, the next one, that is shifting societal roles. So, the boundaries between public and private sectors will collapse. All short of government services will be subcontracted to profit making firms. Now, the next one, an information based economy. So, a dizzying array of information technologies such as computers, and computers networks, telecommunication systems, broadcast and entertainment systems, document reproduction systems, then satellite communication systems will drive the world. More accessible information will change traditional patterns of work, giving rise to troubling, the previous issues. So the robots will be everywhere at road crossings, shop counters, offices, restaurants, and even in the cockpit of an aircraft. So the highly developed user interface will allow such robots to talk to human beings and build their knowledge dynamically. Now, moving forward to the next, that is communication. The demand for information and communication will grow exponentially. Media will coverage with a greater force, and more versatile communication devices will see the light of the day. So, in geographical distance would become meaningless, and the cost of communication will have the trend in information technology. Now, the next one, which is very important, that is a globalization. So, the world is shrinking in all major respects. Nowadays, people, goods, capital, and information are moving around the globe as never before. In fact, companies like Visualsoft Technologies, Infosys, then Software, Mastix, Satyam Computers earn more than 85% of their revenues from export only. So over the years, companies like Reliance, Ranbaxy, Moser Bear, then SL Pro Pack, Cipla have become global players. Now moving forward to the next, that is emphasize on quality of life. So issuing concerning personal health and environmental protection will gain importance, so that the public policy and the business practices will be reshaped accordingly biotechnology. So will open up a world of endless possibilities, that traumatize the and kill people today will become a thing of the past. So surgery may be replaced with non-instru, it may be the non-surgery techniques, right? But grow in new cells to heal. So this in turn will have a dramatic impact on the productivity and efficiency of the workforce. Now, the eighth one, a restructured economy. So, global competition and new technologies will force companies to be lean and flexible and more responsive to, to rapidly changing circumstances. Small firms will have continued mushrooms, the services sector will continue to grow, whole new industries will emerge while others will move to low wage countries. Example, software service providers, then call center businesses moving to India and other low wage countries in the late 90s. Now, the ninth one, a redefinition of home and family. So, paid outsiders will handle traditional family chores. A diverse collection of households like single person homes, childless couples, unmarried couples, then single parents, dual income families, so may emerge, and thanks to modern information technology. So more people will be able to stop, bank and work in their own homes. Now the last one, that is renewed social activism. The phrase think globally, act, here locally will assume importance as people tackle the tough local issues like drug abuse, like the homelessness, then AIDS, then pollution, etc. So business leaders may be compelled to respond ethically, so creatively and generously to community problems like Narayan Murthy, then Azim Premji, Ratan Tata, then Adi Godrej have already taken the lead in India in this regard. So the non-profit organization will grow in importance as they supplement overburdened government agencies in offering social services. Right, so the rapid advances in technology, global competition, then changing preferences of customers, changing policies of government, that have multiplied the problems of managers all over the globe. So most of these changes are thrust on managers and they are forced to adjust their activities like customer services, teamwork, speed product, then service quality, then productivity improvement have become the new corporate mantras. So in order to take full advantage of a favorable developments or to minimize the adverse effects of unfavorable ones, now the successful managers try to visualize the problems before they turn into emergencies. So successful managers deal with foreseen problems and unsuccessful managers, they struggle with unforeseen problems, right? So now we need to know the main important thing, that is strategic planning. And what is strategic planning, we have come to know. So after this strategic planning we have come to know, so we can say the strategic planning is concerned with the future. The first one, that is future, means it is a long term effects, then its environment, the adaptability of business to the changing environment. Then the next one, that is a growth, right? So growth means a pace, the expansion, the direction and time. And then the fourth one, that is a portfolio of business like product, market scope and position. And the last one, that is first mover advantage, core competencies. So it's like increasing organizational capability. So these are the fifth important point which is concerned with strategy planning. That is future, that is environment, that is a growth, then portfolio of businesses, then first more advantages, core competencies. Now moving forward, that we need to know the evaluation of strategic planning. Yes, we come to know what is strategic planning, but we need to know how this strategic planning came, and from where it came, right? So this evaluation, that also we need to know. So the first 3 decades of the 20th century witnessed significant changes in business activity. So firms focus their energies on increasing production of standardized goods, to derive the economies of scale. They were more comfortable working with day-to-day operational plans, whatever came into the market. So got readily absorbed large volume, standardized products, then ever increasing demand, then characterized this era. Now, after the 1930s, firms witnessed increased environmental, turbulence, then competition became intense. with the emergencies of new players. So the technological changes, were swift, and government policies restricted the economic freedom of the firms in most countries. So the consumer taste and preferences changed radically. The new products with novel features met headlines, and to sustain demand, firms had to promote products heavily and spend significant amounts of market segmentation. So they had to commit their resources carefully, and then assessing various alternatives offered by the external environment from time to time. So the reactive ad hoc responses rarely yielding results, forcing firms to change their orientation. So from short term to long term, and look beyond the four walls of the organization more closely. Now the 1950s saw dramatic changes in technology, new products emerged rapidly, then competition became cutthroat. So the multinational corporations began to dominate global markets, and the governmental policies encouraged free market forces. So the environmental complexities literally compelled the firms to come out with a proactive steps by pinning their hopes and roadmaps to provide by the strategic plans, right? So that had to be lean and flexible so that they could remain solvent and move fast. They had to almost undo existing styles and systems and standards, looking at internal as well as external environments from a strategic perspective, right? Now we have come to the T stage, when we have come across this evolution of strategic planning. The first one, it was like first 3 decades, then after the 1930s, and then 1950s also we have come across. Now moving forward to the next, that we need to know that why strategic planning. Okay, why strategic planning? The strategic planning provides a roadmap for the firm, right? Strategic planning also minimizes the chances of mistakes and unpleasant surprises, because goal strategies are subjected to careful examination, right? So yes, then again this question, right? Why strategic planning? So no business firm can afford to get ahead without a clear map of where it wants to go and why. So strategic planning provides a roadmap for the firm. It serves as a comprehensive guide. It provides a big picture for all employees of an organization, by defining the mission of the organization in specific terms. It helps managers provide directions and purpose to organizational efforts. So the organization is able to function better as a result and becomes more responsive to a dynamic environment. It helps in identifying opportunities early and exploits the same vigorously. So it helps decide where and when to use the available resources in an optimal way. So additionally, it provides a complete and broad base for judging each executive's contribution. So the resources in the organization are something that organization are some and that organization owns, so controls or has access to on a semi-permanent basis. Now the next is targets are clarified and the means to follow are outlined as the future as the future unfolds. Adequate controls can be established to see whether the right course of action is adopted or not, and whether the results are satisfactory or not. So strategic planning also minimizes the chances of mistakes and unpleasant surprises, because the goals strategies are subjected to careful examination. There are less chances for committing mistakes, and decisions arrived at can ultimately stand the test of time. There are stakeholders in strategic planning which are defined as an individual or a group with an interest in the organization activities and who seeks to influence them, right? So moving forward, the next one that we need to know, that is benefits of strategic planning. So when it comes to benefits of strategic planning, I have cited only the 3. It may have the more, but now let's start with the roadmap. right? So what is roadmap? Actually it provides the roadmap for the firm. It shows the way of achieving targets, right? The next one, it helps the firms utilize its resources in the best possible manner. It allows more effective allocation of time and resources for identifying opportunities. Now the next one, that is environmental change. The firm can respond to environmental changes in a better way by by exploring opportunities to its advantage and avoiding costly mistakes in investment decisions. Next, it minimizes the chances of mistakes, and already I have told you, unpleasant surprise. It seeks to prepare the firm to confront future challenges through certain proactive steps and even shape the future to its advantages. As rightly pointed out by Effort David, the strategic planning allows an organization to initiate and influence rather than just respond to activities and thus exert control over its destiny. Now, the next one, it gives a framework for internal communication among personnel. It helps to integrate the behavior of individuals into a total effort. It provides a basis for the clarification of individual responsibilities. It gives encouragement to forward thinking. It encourages a favorable attitude towards change. It provides a cooperative, integrated, and enthusiastic approach for tackling problems and realizing opportunities. Right. So these are the benefits roadmap that we have understood. This is like a planning that we can see, then utilize the resources. If you have resources, if you have a plan, if you can strategically utilize them, then you can get more growth, right? You can you can things done through them, and with a very short span of time you can achieve your goal, right? Then we have come to know the environmental changes. Through this environmental changes also, if you'll do the strategic planning, it will be very easy to overcome all the problems. Then unpleasant surprises, it's obviously if something will happen, if you have the strategic planning in back of the mind, then definitely you can start with that planning, and this unpleasant surprises we can avoid. The framework is obviously the framework, the opportunities we can have. Now, moving forward, that we need to know also the pitfalls, right? Because benefits, where it benefits, there would be a pitfalls that also we should know. So yes, strategy planning is laborious and time consuming. So there are very few satisfactory shortcuts. Immediate results are rarely obtained. So further establishing and maintaining a formal system involves many expenses. Sophisticated strategic planning systems are a luxury for a small scale organization. Again, it should be remembered that trying to reach 100% perfection is an ideal. So, a pure intention that can never be satisfied through strategic planning. Many executives, enthralled by strategic planning, tend to overdo the fact gathering job. So much time and effort is wasted, thus, in collecting all sorts of data that is not fully put to fruitful use. So the strategic planning quite often restricts the organization and executives to the more rational and risk-free options. Managers are wedded to a philosophy of adapting those strategies or objectives that bear the weight of careful scrutiny and detailed analysis. So, in the process, many attractive opportunities may be lost since they are characterized by a high degree of risk and uncertainty. Now, moving forward to the next, that is that we need to know, that is levels of strategic planning. So there are three levels in strategic planning. It must start with the corporate level strategic planning, then followed by business level strategic planning, functional level strategic, right? So strategic planning we have come to know. Now the levels also we need to know. So the many organizations develop strategies at three different levels: corporate business, and functional. So yes, we need to know the corporate level strategic planning. So it is the process of defining the overall character and purpose the organization the business it will enter and leave, and how resources will be distributed among those businesses, right? So the strategy at this level is typically developed by the top management, the board of director, the CEO. The decisions are broad based, carry greater risk, and affect most parts of the organization. Example, the type of business that the organization should enter. So changes required in growth strategy, acquisition, and diversification decisions. Next, that is business level strategic planning. So it is the planning process concerned primarily with how to manage the interest and the operations of a particular unit within the organization, so commonly known as strategic business unit, also known as SBU. So, a strategic business unit is a distinct business with its own set of competitors that can be managed reasonably independently of other businesses within the organization. Generally, the heads of the respective business units develop business strategies. So, with the approval of top management, strategies at this level are aimed at deciding the competitive advantage to build, determining responses to changing market situations, then allocating resources within the business unit, and coordinating functional level strategies developed by functional managers. Now, the next one, that is functional level strategic planning. So it is the process of determining policies and procedures, for relatively narrow level of activity, different functions of an enterprise like marketing, finance, personnel, etc. So these are developed by functional managers and are typically reviewed by business unit heads, right? So we have come across these three levels. Corporate level strategic planning, it starts with the corporate. Business level strategic planning, it may start with the smaller level, right? So when it comes to the corporate level strategic planning, it always lies to the the higher authority, means it's lies to the CEO, it's lies to the director, it is all about the top management. Then business level strategic planning, it may have the middle level, right? Then functional level strategic means it lies with the executives, how they are executing this works. So this way, or this strategies. So this is the levels of strategy planning. So this is the check your progress, which you can do at your home to check your progress, right? This is like a homework that you can do at your home. So this is the further reading and references. If you would like to more, if you like to know more about these topics, you can go through these books. So here I'm concluding this session, right? So in this unit we studied about the strategic planning and its importance. It explains us the necessity for strategic planning, core competence, portfolio of business, growth environment, and future are the areas that strategic management is concerned with. So evaluation of strategic management is also mentioned in this unit, right? When we have come across all the three levels, it start with the top level, it start with the the management, the corporate level, then we have come to know the business level, when we have come to know the functional level as well, right? So in our next lecture we will also come to know all about the strategic management process. Okay, thank you all.
स्वाध्यायः